And it's further than I've gotten in a while, so we're live right now. If you would need to for some reason.
More than I
Undo
do.
it, so I don't forget.
I mean, they're
But you
like,
can,
but they're
you
both
see right away
out,
that it's pulled
Yeah,
up the
fuzzy,
cameras. We know the owls
Fuzzy.
are because their little eyes
No,
are lit
fuzzy,
up.
they call them fuzzy.
This fuzzy works, yeah.
And then,
It's Danny,
you know, I
Fiddle.
joined an
Danny
expensive
Fiddle.
hall.
You guys does the long, he
Oh,
does work for free, man.
Yeah, he does.
He can't stay in a week going somewhere where it's not supposed
Just
to
in
be.
case it
Well,
goes,
and
you
Rich
know,
is a dog.
if,
Yeah,
if this is acting slower than
Right.
this, then,
and the two of them together,
before the meetings also.
they didn't have a lot of
make sure
time.
you have
They had their
about 10
graduation
copies
party, we were at that too.
And then, yeah.
Then we haven't. Life
A
goes
lot
on.
of times.
Yeah.
Even though they have a physical copy, they'll just leave you one digital copy or that's where.
Oh, I hear
Closer.
Yeah, I don't.
Problem with getting old is your wife gets old too. So,
No.
supposed to,
This
you're
is Dawn Hutch, she's our
Hi, Dawn.
deputy.
Hi.
Nice to meet you. Benefits
Yeah.
guru.
Yeah.
Okay, we got a good name.
I don't know what to do. This guy called me in Pasky Street. He's living in it's zoned single family,
Okay.
but there's 3 apartments. There's 3 addresses. He pays for 3 garbage cans.
I'm gonna get him in contact with Rob Rowe,
Okay.
and Rob will be able to give him the next step, give him his options. and what next steps are.
I thought Don Knight's already addressed this. I think I saw an email go through.
He was it.
That's the name. I have YouTube on, so I don't want to start telling
Yeah, I
you.
think it was. Oh, I'll look through it. Is Don with you?
Who's in today? I don't know if
He went from
Okay. We can ask Rob.
Okay.
So what does he want?
He wants to sell, so he either wants it rezoned
Okay.
as a triplex or he's not sure what to do. But he doesn't want to sell it without disclosing that it's 3 units.
Might just have to go through.
Yeah, and right.
Then I got a complaint about the
About complain about.
mulch at East.
Before Jesse. Where to go? Sorry, just Kim doing.
Pile up there.
Go ahead.
They're party line.
Right, but it is,
Yeah, we're supposed to be 12 feet high. You're right. Hedge your obstacles, right?
who is that word?
That ward is, yeah,
That's what I thought.
yeah. But there is a rule about that. You think so?
Oh, yeah.
Who can't see who's complaining?
But it was actually the van driver that
Oh.
brought him back from dialysis. Said that you're gonna get kicked off here.
The Dodge County Extension offered you course on this cleaning. I think everybody's going to.
Several times. Some are multiple graduates.
You think with all that Facebook activity, everyone's saying, what a great time, we're so happy to play it. And
Hi, Julie.
Hi, Julie.
Yeah.
I walked.
Yeah, so then we have some supplementary handouts, so I have copies for everyone.
Oh, that's, and you have a cat and a shawl, is that?
There are some for
A shawl and a
kids,
cat,
I don't hand out until
you're gonna become a cat.
no, it's for
Sometimes
some.
5 or 6, and you cat on
We
your
just
lap.
don't have one around. And then anything
Yours
like
might
that, like subscription-wise, I'm here to sign, I'm talking to the meeting, so we don't have to.
The only thing worse than having your spouse, is having your spouse at home. But I don't see that. I
I'm at a meeting, so I shouldn't. I shouldn't. No.
Hi, Ken.
Oh, come on.
So we might mind.
I'll take 2 minutes.
All right.
Okay.
How's it going?
All right. Number 1 coming down.
You know, trust me.
All right, Casey.
Lots of
How's
different,
the Parks Commission?
2023.
Good, good.
YouTube is on.
Amazing.
Would be better, right?
Couldn't be better. I picture myself every day taking a dream. You-
Nightmares are dreams too.
We used to say that. I used to say that.
It's a long distance.
That's good, it's always good.
All right, 6 o'clock. We're starting.
All right. I'd like to call the City of Mayville Public Safety Committee meeting to order at 6 PM. Take the roll, please.
Alderperson Baker.
Here.
Alderperson Newman.
Here.
Alderperson Olson. Here. We have quorum.
Please stand for the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands,
One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, item 3, approval of minutes of the April 28th, 2025 Public Safety Committee meeting.
Make a motion.
A second.
Motion by Newman, second by Olson. Any citizen comments?
All those in favor?
Oh, sorry. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Nay? Item 4, citizen comments. Seeing none. Item 5, discuss with possible action, monthly police department report to the Public Safety Committee meeting, or committee.
Good evening.
Hi.
We've had a busy couple of weeks. Probably the busiest that I've had since I've been working for the city. Tornado hit on the 15th. And probably one of the stories that I'll tell to start with the tornado sirens is that the sirens went off about 20 minutes before the tornado hit. And the weather kind of looked like it was going to go around me for a little bit. And we all were watching it. And Officer Trunkle took it upon himself a few minutes before the tornado hit to ask for this tornado siren to be set off for a second time. And I have listened to countless stories of people that admitted that they heard the tornado siren the first time and all were outside watching. But when they heard it the second time, they went down to the basement. And it was a few minutes later that the tornado hit. The National Weather Service came through and did their site survey. And it was explained to me that the tornado, the winds, went from 0 to 125 miles an hour in 5 seconds in the city of Mayville. So the tornado sirens were all working properly. They're all in place. And like I said, countless people said that it saved their lives just because they were out watching instead of being in the basement. So I commend Officer Trunkel for his, thinking of that and having him set that off a second time. And to the council for getting the tornado sirens installed when we did and having them operational. So I appreciate it. And the community appreciates it. So that's the first thing that I had on my thing tonight. The tornado itself and the response, I can say that it was nothing short of extraordinary. I was in town about 10 minutes after it hit, and I wasn't able to get to the police department because the trees were down on South Main and every other street to the west. And at that time already, there were numerous residents, kids, people out pushing, pulling, moving trees at that time, and that didn't end for days. The community interaction, the citizens, people from outside the community, the city workers, all the city employees. In fact, at one point, it was, I don't know if it was Friday or Saturday night, Mayor, I was taking pictures on Dagner Avenue and there's a sole individual out in May Park pulling brush. It was the mayor by himself out there moving brush. So all the things that people did in the background that they don't want recognition for, it occurred throughout the whole time. It was very inspiring. The tornado itself, we have a police department, obviously, emergency management response. It was coordinated through DPW, EMS, fire. They all played a key role, and there was a lot of lessons that we learned from it. It went really well. There was 0 injuries through this entire event, and that's a testament to the city's preparation for it, the community's response to it, and then the aftermath of the cleanup. It was extremely impressive. I almost get a little emotional thinking about or talking about it because it was great. I want to thank the community for their assistance and jumping in and helping their neighbors. And I want to thank the community for jumping in and helping us. The number of people that were at our back door with whatever we needed went on for days. It was day and night. The number of text messages that I received on my personal phone alone was in the hundreds the first 24 hours of people that wanted to know what they could do to help. And that's just on my personal phone. It was incredible. We received immediate assistance from City of Horicon, the mayor, DPW, and the police department, Village of Theresa Police Department, City of Beaver Dam Police Department, Village of Jackson, the chief of police stopped and helped us. The Dodge County Emergency Management, Dodge County Sheriff's Office, Dodge County, our DCERT assisted us with streets. They stayed for hours. State Patrol assisted us with a number of things. They stayed for days. Private businesses, Generac out of, I believe it's Menominee Falls, showed up with a big trailer full of generators, which we handed out to people. Mayville Tire fixed tires on our squad car a couple of times because we kept running over nails. They helped a number of other places at no charge. We rolled it in, they fixed it, and we drove away. It was extraordinary. And countless efforts of food and beverage donations from all over the place, as far as West Bend, the Red Cross, Salvation Army responded with those assisted with that were affected by the tornado. They set up in a high school with a shelter that occurred within 24 hours. There were a number of landlords in town that offered places for people to stay that were displaced. And even today, we had someone that needed a place to stay because of the tornado, and we got them someplace to stay. So it continues on here today. So I can't say enough about it. It was a little different for me because I was kind of in the men's. I was running around after having surgery the day before, but Lieutenant Johnson stepped up and led it from there through the whole thing. So I commend him for what he did and going above and beyond, it was pretty great. So that's about what I got to say about that. I'm very proud of the community. I'm proud of the city workers and how everybody came together. It was pretty well. Calls for service for the city, for the month of May in the city. We've had 405. It's been a busy one, and that's not including the tornado stuff. There was probably 150, 200 just the first day, just with stuff that the officers responded to with people's houses, and it was endless. We did have 2 traffic grant deployments in this month. We also have 2 scheduled for June. We did have some officers work those, and there were some citations that were issued. As far as the department goes, training is finished up at WCTC. We do have firearms annual qualifications, CPR stop the bleed. That'll be training we have tomorrow. Our overtime is up, but a lot of that is going to be the tornado stuff in that, which we submitted. And hopefully we'll get some of that back through the state. New squad car through capital improvements arrived today. And with the upfitting for mid-July in Belco, the 2019 squad will be offered for sale. And we'll have that up. And again, if any other departments are interested in it, that will get that information to you. One thing that we ran into with the tornado, which is something that I hadn't perceived before, and our generator system for the city that powers our police department and portions of City Hall ended up going down the one night. It overheated. We determined that the loss of water pressure in the city because of the couple of buildings that were struck that had fire suppression systems that were pumping thousands of gallons of water, ended up depleting the water pressure for a short time. And that's what caused our generator to overheat. It uses city water to cool the heat exchanger, which then cools the antifreeze, which cools the engine. So we do have a schedule to have it looked at and to have the electrical system load tested. And we'll be doing that here in the next few weeks to make sure that piece of equipment is still up and operational. We were able to get it running by adding some antifreeze later that night, and it did run and work just fine and stayed at temp the rest of the time that we used it. So internet phones continue to be a problem with outages. Last week we had a pretty serious outage, and over the weekend, last night, we had a situation where we had a pretty serious incident where we needed to use the police department and get some stuff over to the county and that, and it ended up not working. We ended up using our cell phones again, so that continues to be a problem for our department. Lastly, our part-time administrative assistant, Courtney Bilwalk, she's taken a full-time job. She is working with us this week because Judy's on vacation. But after that, we'll be probably looking to hire another part-time administrative assistant once Judy gets back. And I can't wait for Judy to get back. It's been a long week without Judy. So, but otherwise, that's what I've got for my update for public safety. Any questions?
Can you touch base on the siren we lost over there?
Yes, so we did lose a tornado siren. Now it is currently operational. It's like duct taped and band-aided. That's the one on South Clark Street. We have tested it. We've been looking at it every day to make sure that it stays online. It was in the direct path of the tornado by the water tower. One of the containment boxes took a direct hit from a dumpster, so it's damaged, but everything they say is operational and it should work. We did get a quote today, and the city administrator confirmed today through insurance that we got the go ahead to repair it. So talking with the tornado siren people, they're going to order parts. Hopefully they'll be here Friday and they'll get it installed as soon as possible. So, but we do currently have all the tornado sirens are currently working right now. We've got the one banded together. They came and showed up and did their magic, and so everything should work. So we are protected.
Any feedback on the sirens?
Yes, well, like I said, the feedback on the sirens going up the second time, I had a lot of that they were, happy. Now I will say, and this is something that I want to bring up, and we're going to have looked at with the tornado sirens company that put them in. We do have a couple of citizens over on the North German Washington Street, over that area, where they're concerned about it not being loud enough. Now, we did test that when we did the initial testing. And we did, during the initial testing, have the north siren not working for a period of time, but then we got it working. And the one time that I stood there and listened to it, it's different now because it kind of comes and goes, but I'm gonna have them do a decibel test. And then we'll take a look at if we maybe need to add another siren there or make some changes. So there has been a few emails and concerns about that particular location. And if you look on the map, that's the farthest from everything.
Right.
And just the way that the river and hill and the siren and Gulfview with the golf course and the hill and that, I could see that, especially if we have wind coming from the west. If we have a west wind, it could definitely muffle it as well. So that's something we're gonna look at and address. Any other questions? Good. All right, thanks for all your help. Thanks, Chief.
All right, 5B, monthly EMS report.
Good evening. I guess I want to kind of second what Ryan said and just add a few things. I will say that this is, words cannot explain what our city has been through. Being in an ambulance in the middle of a tornado is something I never want to do again. I'm very proud of our city. I'm proud of our departments. We work so well together. As fast as everything happened, it took us 20 minutes to get to the fire department to try to, come up with a plan, and a plan was already in place. There's so many people that think that I'm hoping, that it's been said multiple times, but we've had multiple EMS services, Thresa, Horicon, Hartford, Beaver Dam, Brownsville First Responders and Fire, Iron Ridge, both fire and first responders, Bucesford, Allington, Knowles, Fond du Lac. They were all, whenever we pull what's called the disaster card, which is the first time since I've been an EMT that we've had to do, you're calling in everybody under the sun, and that's exactly what happened. And the reason for that is because we don't know how long it's gonna take people to get into the city. I know where we were stationed up at the cemetery, we were very lucky that fire was able to spot the tornado, so we were able to get out of there. But by the time we got out and tried to get back into the city, trees were down everywhere. So I think as a city, we have so much to be proud of, not just as public safety, but as everyone, like Ryan said. So thank you to everyone that was part of it. I'm super proud of our department, like I said, fire, everyone, because we just all worked together. We had people bringing food immediately, which is funny. You have to kind of laugh at that, because literally within 10 minutes, we had people bringing in food, which is hilarious, because you can tell we're first responders, because that's what we do, we eat. So that was pretty amazing. And kids showing up, people showing up, but we did learn a lot from this. We learned a lot about what we need to work towards, but also a lot to be thankful for. So, since that, last week was EMS week we celebrated, so that kind of went hand in hand. So, we did some special things for our people. We have our training meeting tomorrow with our med control, so we're gonna give them dinner, and just kind of thank them for all their service. If you have a scanner, we have been swamped. Since Friday, we've had 23 calls. We have been supporting Horicon, Juneau, and Thresa. We're continuing to support Thresa because their ambulance is down at least through tomorrow, as the last we heard. So just since last year, we're 70 calls ahead of where we were last year. So it's been just crazy. Our AEMT class finished. Everybody passed with really high scores. We had our first student just passed for National Registry today. So we have 9 more to go, and I'm expecting them all to pass. They are a great class. And then we're getting ready for our EMT class in August. So we have 2 people signed up now, so we'll keep posting that, but get the word out if you hear. And last is I have our golf outings coming up this Saturday, so we still have spots open if anybody wants to enjoy the beautiful weather, and the golf course is ready to go. They're open and ready to go. So right now we have 20 teams, so we're super excited about that with the support, and that the golf course is able to be back up and running. So any other questions? Okay.
Thank you. All right, 5C, monthly fire department report.
So I have supplementally handed out an email from Chief Marks, it should be in front of all of you. He says, "Good morning, John is out of town in Europe and I'm not able to attend the meeting. For the agenda, could you please put down the following points? Firefighter Jeff Engel was selected by the PFC as the next chief. His term will begin June 1st, 2025. He will be in person for June committee meetings to give the next report. The PFC also hired a new firefighter in May. We are currently awaiting the physical and lab results. All maintenance apparatus is up to date. There are a few items that have been discovered at the station that will need to be taken care of, such as the furnaces. Hekanovich Masonry here in Mayville will be fixing the floors and the drain as part of the capital improvement projects. And all NIFRS reports and other filing requirements that were part of Chief Marks's responsibility have been filed and completed to date.
All right, thank you. All right, 5D, discuss with possible action resolution 5996-2025. Resolution authorizing municipal employees to sell beer in public parks operated by the city of Mayville.
So there is a caveat in state statute with liquor licensing that allows just that, for city employees to be able to sell beer in parks so long as we have a resolution on file. With some of the events coming up, speaking with Director Wild here, we thought this might be something that could be advantageous. One of them being the Rock and Boom Summer Series. There is one of the concerts that they have asked city staff to come help with. And it's going to raise funds for, if I'm speaking correctly, TAPE Center equipment replacement. As a municipality, we can't license ourselves, so we can't go and get a picnic license. This would be the workaround to do
That would
that.
be for all of our softball leagues and.
Softball
baseball
leagues,
Anything
yep.
that we run through the rec program.
How does this have to go to council or?
It would have to be recommended to council for approval. And I'm happy to read the resolution if you like, otherwise it was in your packets. It's not terribly long, so whichever you prefer.
That's all right. We have a motion. Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
And the only thing I look at, we're gonna have an attorney look at it, obviously liability factor.
We certainly can. It largely just references state statute. You know, the state statute says we can do it.
Okay.
But if, Stephanie, do you feel like we need to go by legal? The resolution, do you think it needs
This
to go
is
by
pretty
legal?
common. Washington County does it on their Eisenbahn Trail over there, that they call it pop-up brew pubs. So then they'll have, on the Eisenbahn Trail, they'll just sell beer here and there. They have specific dates and,
I'm just covered liability, I'm just looking at liability, I come to the park, John sells
that's
me,
why we
John sells
excluded,
me 8 beers and I crash into a tree and then I sue the city. That's all I was looking at.
that would be under our immunity clause. Police, fire, and EMS cannot serve, I mean, they're excluded from that, just from that perspective.
Second that motion.
Motion by Olson, second by Newman. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Nay. All right, motion passes. All right, 5E, discuss with possible recommendation liquor and fermented malt beverage license renewal applications, licensing for the period of July 1st, 2025 to June 30th, 2026.
So as you guys have probably heard from me for the last 2 or 3 months in my clerk updates, it is liquor licensing season and it is here. There really should be no big surprises on there. There are no new ones coming back. We did have one not renew, CA Sellers, I believe they closed, so they obviously didn't put in any information. The Nest Eatery downtown is looking to go to a beer and wine license as opposed to beer and hard liquor. Otherwise, it's all the same as in past years. Additionally, this year, I have made sure that anyone who's applied, their seller's permit is valid with the state of Wisconsin. If they hold an LLC, that it's in good standing with the state. The PD has already gone around and done business checks, so they all are good to go.
All right. A motion on the floor?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
So this go to council as well?
Yep.
All right. All right, discuss a possible recommendation, operator license applications.
Along with liquor licensing renewal comes operator license renewal. This year I did separate out the new applicants from the renewal applicants. We've got a little bit of both. They've all gone to the PD for their background checks. None of them came back with anything overtly outstanding that would prohibit us from issuing them their operator's license.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
All right, motion by Olson, second by Newman. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. All right, motion approved. Motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second.
All right, motion by Newman, second by Olson. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned.
All right. Call the Public Works committee meeting to order at 6:19. Please take the roll.
Alderperson Bob Smith,
Here. Yes.
Alderperson Tony Baker,
Here.
Alderperson Jesse Lupno.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Okay, approval of the minutes for April 28th, 2025.
Approve to, I move to approve the minutes.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. Item number 3, citizen comment. Any citizen comments for Public Works Committee? No. Item number 4, discuss with possible action for a monthly Department of Public Works report to the Public Works Committee.
Hello, everybody.
Aye.
For our month, or for Jack's monthly report, he wants to emphasize the storm cleanup, obviously, and he's thinking they have a little bit, maybe a month, a little bit more to do yet. He wants to give a huge shout out to all who helped. So Waupun DPW, Horicon DPW, Town and Country, Fox Den, Gabe's Tree Service, Honky Excavating. They're the ones that had the huge mulch for the grinder out there, which saved us a ton of time and space. The Mayville High School football team and everybody else who helped. I don't know who was all there, but I just know there was a bazillion different companies, municipalities, citizens. It was awesome. Our first 48 hours, the town looked completely different than what it was when Serena went through. So it was fantastic. For other stuff besides that happened earlier in the month, they were repairing manhole covers as well as catch basins, so they could try to beat the traffic for all the construction that has begun today. I believe they're working down out on Riverview Heights today and whichever one right across the street from that one, Iron Lane, I believe it was. That's where I saw them today. They will start painting very shortly here. It's getting warmer out, and once the construction is done, they will start painting them streets as well. And then bulk pickup is this weekend. This is their first one, so it will be a little hectic, but just so it's out there that it will still be in the same spot, even though construction is going on at the wastewater. Bulk pickup will still be in the original spot where it's always been for the past years. Other than that, that's all he has. Any questions I can try to answer.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I will say that during that storm, my driveway was blocked by like 3 big trees that fell down, and the Reeseville Fire Department parked at the end of the driveway and walked the whole quarter of a mile in to make sure we were okay. And then promptly got out their chainsaws, cut up the trees and dragged them to the side. So That was interesting. Anyway, item number 4B, monthly tag center report.
Good evening, everyone. All right, make my report short and sweet. One meeting tonight. We started our summer hours this week, after Memorial Day weekend. Foot traffic, with the weather getting nice, has been a little bit down, but still good. We started our summer programs, our rec programs this week. Those programs are all gonna go through August. The last 2 weeks, we had our pool shut down for our annual maintenance. At that point, Scott was able to go through pumps, repair all the chlorine equipment, kind of get everything freshened up, ready to go. At this time, we went and repainted the whole pool area, sanded it, repainted it all, so it looks really fresh, turned out really nice. Had a lot of people help me out there. Scott came in every day this weekend then to refill the pool, and this morning it was up and going again, so people were happy about that. I guess the next big project we're working on out there that we have to get to the bottom of is keeping the rain out of the building. So, that's gonna be the next thing we're gonna do. They've got a couple other issues other than just, the stone in the front, and we'll start getting rebidding the job out and getting it all looked at as far as in between the old building, the new building, the stone in the front, coming up with a different plan other than just having it replaced, having it fixed and seeing if that's where the problem is. But we gotta get something taken care of with that. 4 inches of rain that we had the other day, we had probably 20 buckets in the building out, and it's all coming through, and it's just wrecking the building. So we gotta get on this really, really fast. So. Any questions? All right, thank you.
Thanks, John.
All right, item number 4C, monthly Parks Department report to the Public Works Committee.
You're up again, Jake.
Come on.
Split personality.
So for this report, we were helping the DPW as much as we could, because obviously streets are our first priority when it comes to this. So me and Fuzzy and I were out there helping them as much as we could, clearing the roads and doing what we could when we could. And then after that, we started working on the parks, and then we had a bazillion volunteers for that as well, so that was fantastic. We're busy doing all the baseball fields and softball fields, and men's and women's softball has started, so we got that going twice a week. Our capital improvement project from last year, the roof shelters, them officially started today, and I actually think they got 3 of them done already today, so they'll be in and out in a matter of this week, I'm gonna assume. We got our flowers getting planted tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock, weather pending if the rain holds off. And then as for our pavilion, somehow that did not, it's only missing a couple shingles. I'm not sure how the building's still standing, but we're happy with that. It saved the wedding, thankfully. The wedding got to go on. They were extremely happy. But other than that, the pavilion has been busy, as well as the senior center. And that minus the power outage at the pavilion and a couple shingles, everything's working smooth. And then other than that, shelters really for the parks in general from the tornado didn't really get affected that much, rather than the roof, but they were getting replaced. I mean, it's kind of a win-win, I guess you'd call it, in a way. So, but yeah, that's all I got.
Any questions for Parks? Nope. Thanks.
Thank you.
Item number 4D, discuss with possible action, water, sewer, main, and laterals asphalt repairs. So, is this on there because I put it on, or is this on there because I'll just get on there?
Did you put it on?
And I believe the mayor put it on. because he-
This it was
This was
on
October.
last month and forwarded on.
Right, this is last month before this table was last month about patching up the road, if we're gonna go from curb to curb, or we're gonna go from the center line to the curb.
Okay.
And I did put in your packet that it says in your municipal code that, the committee shall restore the street to as close as it is original condition as possible in accordance with specifications established by the Board of Public Works. So you should have some kind of specifications established if you want. if out to the center line or curb to curb, or what you would like to see.
Is there a standard that other municipalities use?
Typically, it's center line to the curb or curb to curb.
So what's happening is the main doesn't always run right down the middle of the road.
Right.
So sometimes it's on the opposite side of the road, so they had to do a whole strip across. Sometimes it's before you get to the center of the road, and we're only patching up to that portion.
Where the fire hydrants typically are, because it's offset, 5-6 feet from the hydrant. And then we have some needs that go right down the center line, and of course, we've had places where we just patch, 4 feet on each side of the center line.
Sure.
Well, so we should probably get more of a standard now where you go about patching up our road, especially when we're making all these repairs and the expense that we're going through right now.
So this has nothing to do with the resurfacing project that we're embarking on. This is more of a general policy thing you wanna,
Right. Whether it's sewer, water,
do you have any ideas on this?
yeah, I suggest to go from center line to the curb or curb to curb.
I think if it's on one side of the street, you go to the center line. If it crosses the
Right.
center line, then you go curb to curb.
Right, to make sure it's squared.
Right.
That's what when we're patching, we should make sure it's squared off.
But sometimes it's the property owner that has to pay for the patch. If it's,
Sewer.
It's a lateral, yeah.
then we bill the property owner.
Well, I guess a motion, well, is this ripe enough to dispose of in your mind there, Mr. DeBaker?
I think so.
Okay, make a motion.
All right, I move that we, when there's a repair needed to one half of the road, we go to the center line. If it crosses the center line, we go curb to curb.
And in the case of the lateral?
Same thing.
So, yeah,
Same thing?
same thing, yeah.
Okay, is that a motion?
That's a motion.
Does this have to go to council or I suppose it would? It's
Yep.
policy. All right, is there a second? I guess I'll second it. Any further discussion? All right, please take the roll.
Alderperson Baker.
Aye.
Alderperson Smith.
Aye.
Alderperson Lehman.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay, item number 5, adjournment.
So move.
I'll second that. Please take the roll. No, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We're done with this. Who's next here?
Finance, do you want the hammer?
That's right. Let's go here. I call order in the meeting of Finance Committee, City of Mayville, 6:35. You take the roll.
Alderperson Newman.
Here.
Alderperson Henkel. Here. Alderperson Smith.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Number 2, approval of the minutes. 2A, approval of the minutes of April 28th, 2025 Finance Committee meeting.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That passed. Citizens' comments. Any citizens' comments tonight for finance? Seeing none, we're gonna go on to number 4, discuss possible action. Wage for DPW director position 4A. I'm sure that's gonna be Stephanie's department.
And I handed out, what we currently are paying all of our salary positions or department heads. And where the DPW director, what he is currently being paid. The next one I gave you is from Slinger and where the DPW. Working foremen are. Yeah, that would be the working foreman, they must work it. And then our current pay plan, so where this position would land as a level 5. is the Director of Parks, Recreation, and Public Works. It hasn't been updated. And then what our pay level is for level 5, the bottom was at 38,800 and the top was 73,600. And that hasn't been updated since 2014. Just for comparison, I threw West Bend's in there because they were generous enough to send it over. And I thought I had Kewaskum's on here too.
I think that's under DPW laborers.
You got slingers in there.
That's what it is. Okay, Kewaskum's is on the next page. On the hourly one for laborers. I have their pay scale here.
I think it's plan.
Okay.
Is that it?
Yeah, I had another one where it said, had like 16 with their pay range. Was it regular?
That's not the number.
No.
If I'm not mistaken,
Oh, here it is. So, DPW Director of Public Works is 14 for Kewaskum's. So that would be on that other packet that I hand out. And that's from 88 to 99 in Kewaskum.
Okay, if I'm not mistaken, the range you said was from 2014 in Mayville.
Correct.
That was so disparate because at the time we had a dual DPW director and he had other duties, so that he got 32 or something, 34,000 for part of it, and then he got paid for engineering out of another part of it. So I think that's why it looks so poor. Do you have any suggestion where we
Yes,
should be?
it's on. No, I do not. Not for the,
Okay.
Well, I think the city's gotta figure out what they wanna do, because this numbering system, how we have the city handbook on different levels, I mean,
Yeah.
when we had 12 people, that was fine, right? We don't have 12 people anymore, we got 34 or whatever. And typically, when we pay people as a department head, if that's what we're talking about, we pay them in comparison to what other communities are paying. So, you know, if we're gonna do the level thing, that's fine, but I don't think it's,
Doesn't really apply here if we're talking about
it's
one.
not, I think it's outdated, and I think it's, you know, if we're gonna compete with other communities around us, we have to, you know, pay what that wage is.
Well, if we want to attract a candidate, we should have a reasonable range. And did you put some thought into it, Stephanie? Did you have a range you were suggesting?
I did not for the director position.
Okay.
I have a question. At one time, we were looking at like, department head, assistant department head. We have not chosen that yet either. Which of those tables we were gonna
Correct.
choose.
Right, and that's why I didn't come up with a range, because
Okay.
I wasn't real sure if we're going with a director, or a director with an assistant director, or a director with additional labor. And I think that's on the agenda for tonight too.
To me, it seems like we're doing this kind of backwards. I think we should go with one of those plans first and then determine. Unless there's something missing here that we need to act quickly on this.
Well, let's talk about it. That's why we're here. The DPW director now makes $78,044. I would imagine we want to start, if we advertise for another one, we want to have a range that starts probably a little lower than that and goes to where we think we have to be eventually. So generally, if that's out of date by 10%, so then you go up 10% from there, and maybe the starting you know, the range should be maybe 10% less, so 70,000 to 90,000, I would think. If we're just talking about it right now, we don't have to, this is for temporarily till we establish the pay grades for the different, what do they call those, your employee rate designation. You want to have something to put in the paper. DPW director, starting at anywhere from $70,000 to $90,000, depending on experience and so forth. So I think that's what we need to talk about now. I don't think we have to redo the whole, unless we got 6 months or to do this.
But I thought we were gonna do in-house first.
Well, that would apply to the same thing.
I think you posted it internal for, right?
Yeah, we have to have interviewers tonight. For internal candidates.
So we have to have a range to offer internally or externally. So I would, that's just my suggestion.
Okay.
You people had, that's what we did before we chopped up the job into 2 or 3 different parts. But I would say if you start, maybe, you know, depending on whatever, you pay what it takes to get somebody, and you have a high enough rate so that if you find somebody really good, you can attract them to apply. But I would say, we're paying the current director $78,000. I imagine we could find somebody to start for 70 to 72. I mean, and especially if they had a range where they could progress if they were here for a few years, up to 85 to 90. That's just my suggestion. You gotta have something, you gotta make up our mind about something. You gotta. Everybody feel comfortable with offering somebody this job internally at $72,000, and then with a possibility of 80 to 85 as a top range. Does that sound reasonable to you? Till we get, unless you want to redo the whole pay plan for these employees. What do you think, Mayor? That's what we kind of did in the past.
I think we need to redo the whole structure.
Well, we don't have time. We got a vacancy
Well,
coming up.
That's different. We're gonna talk about that in another item. So I would say we need to work on the director's positions. We need to work on that in the future on what we believe. Listen, I've been through these wage studies. I hate wage studies. I think they're never very good at how they do them. My suggestion would be you go within 40-mile radius of Mayville, and that's where people are gonna move to, within 40 miles. You get a consensus of how much everyone pays for each one of these departments and divide it out, average it out, and that's what we're paying. I mean, you're gonna have the high end over to the east, you're gonna have the low end to the west, you know, and you're gonna have some in between the north and south. But if people are going to leave your positions, right, your key positions, they're gonna go within 40 miles typically.
My only problem with that is the definition. I mean, not everybody has what we have right now is a DPW director. They have it solved in other ways. They have foremen, they have this and that. So, I don't know.
Well, I think you're right? I mean, like my company has a ratio, it's 16 to 1. One manager every 16 employees, right? Well, obviously, we don't have that here. So I would have the manager, director, and then you'd actually have like a lead person under them if needed, and that's it.
Well, I'm out of breath. Do we have enough information to do this now?
No. I think you need to have more discussion, because the next one is the labor position, so.
Have to do more homework, I think.
Yeah, gives us, but at least this discussion gave us something to think about, right?
Sure. Right.
So I'll make a motion to table it.
I'll second it.
First on Smith, second on Hinkle, the motion to table 4A. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No. Tabled then, until next meeting. Thanks, Annie. 4B, discuss with possible action wage scale for DPW laborers.
So we're not getting any applicants, for the current position that we have vacant. So it was suggested. This one I should have. It is on the first page, is the recommendation. I thought I also included, and then behind that is what, the mayor had given me for suggestions. But he had it for every 6 months, which is a nightmare for the payroll clerk, so I just went 0 to 6 months, and then every year thereafter, for increase. But then you can look at 4 years, it's 2904, and then what our current employees are making. So that would mean that the ones that are here 4 years or more would make 3 cents an hour more. So I took that scale that was recommended and put it into our current employees, so you'd see what they are making now per hour, and then a proposed rate with the amount of years that they have with the city. And you can see how much it would increase. But then I also included the utilities, just to see, because they have a little bit higher because of the licenses that they're required, but also they have more of an incentive, as you can see. One of the employees doesn't choose to get all the licenses, so they're more in range with your DPW. But also, I just want to bring it to your attention that that is something that's more desirable and retains employees if there's an incentive.
Are they required to get a CDL or is that a Smith?
Yes, they have to have a CDL.
Okay.
Well, I put the 6-month table together because then they know what they're gonna be getting every 6 months. It's a union scale, it's pretty simple. Because otherwise they're gonna be shortchanged on their yearly, the raise. That's why every 6 months, you tell the employees, hey, we're starting out at this month, 6 months you'll be here. 6 months from there, you'll be here, and in the meantime, you still give them their yearly increase. And then they top out at 2904.
So this is your recommendation, this chart, and did I understand you to say we have no takers at this, or is that right?
No, at our
No
current,
one's applied for the position.
Okay. If you think this rate is fair and it shows 6 months,
Well, we're behind the county as on the plowing side. County's starting at 24 something, so.
so what does that mean? Are you saying this is not good enough after you put it together?
No, I'm saying the county, this will be more in line with the county.
Oh, this will.
The county doesn't have 6 months intervals. The county basically says, hey, we're gonna search out here, and a year from now, you'll get this.
I didn't understand your point. So you think this is adequate because of the county, or you think this
Well,
is not adequate?
compared to other cities and counties around us, I think it's,
Okay. So I'll trust your judgment as long as the city administrator goes along with it. I'll make a motion to approve this tentative DPW labor wage schedule.
so you get, there's two sheets here. There's one in the front and one on the back.
the one on the back is like the mayor said, it's for every 6
That's the one I
months.
was talking about, the one in the back, the one, the hand scratching.
Starting at $24.60,
Pardon me?
starting at $24.60 an hour.
Yes.
No, that's in 2026, yeah.
Now, starting at $24 an hour and then working
Okay.
your way up.
Yeah.
And then, of course, then we'll have to, whenever you make this effect, we'll have to go back to the current employees and we're gonna have to bump them up because they're not where they need to be either. So if employees here, we have this progression over 48 months, so that's 4 years. So if some employees at 2 years right now, right? And then he's gonna have to get bumped up to the 2-year mark.
Well, I'll make an amendment to my motion, which would make it so that current employees have the benefit of this schedule. Does that make sense?
Which
This is
I
always clear as
mentioned,
mud.
you're good on the bottom end, but on the top end, it's not enough. Because right now, they're making
29, well,
2904, and on your top end, it's 29, or it's 2903, or 2901 right now, and it'd be 2904, so 3 cents an hour more. So on the top end, you're a little,
Yeah, but the problem is that people on the top right now also got longevity pay over the course of the years that we paid that out on an hourly rate.
I think 3 cents, I'm not gonna fight about that unless you guys want to argue over the 3 cents.
no, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying you're punishing your employees that have been here for how many years? You're gonna give them a 3 cent an hour raise. But the ones that are starting out are gonna start out, what is the current rate? $2 an hour more.
Yeah, well, that's what they're getting now. The top, we're maxing it out at 2904. If they're making 29, a little over 29, whatever it is now, right?
Yeah, and he was hired in 2001.
Right, and we also got longevity. So that's why we got rid of longevity. We gave them extra hourly wages. Get rid of longevity pay.
What's the current starting pay?
Right now it's 23, 22.
22, so. Okay. That's what's posted, Dawn, do you remember?
23.
What's posted for labor?
23.
I think it's
22 right on
23.
that.
23?
Well, we can't table it till we solve the problem with the 3 and 4 cents, but we can, to do something, we wanna hire a laborer. So somebody's gotta come up with a,
So Bob, your motion was the 24 an hour, right?
right,
Okay. I'll second that motion.
good for you. Now you say, please take the roll.
There you go. Please take the roll.
Alderperson Smith,
Aye.
Alderperson Newman,
Aye.
Alderperson Henkel. Nay. Motion carries.
4C, discuss with possible action, received request for proposal for auditing services.
Okay, the deadline for receiving the audit proposals was last Friday at 10 a.m. Evaluation committee got together today because of the holidays and stuff, we had people on vacation. And on the committee was Annie, Eileen, Nicole, and myself, and Gwen. So we received 2 proposals, one from Baker Tilly, one from Clifton Larson and Allen, and the third one is from Gerber Rose. I handed out our tabulation sheet, our bid tab. So overall, scoring out of 100, 83.4 for Baker Tilly, 90.8 for CLA or Clifton Larson Allen, and 87.2 for Gerber Rose. And that was based on the completeness of the proposal, project team, and references, approach to the project of auditing the city of Mayville and their fees. You can see the fees for Baker Tilly for 3 years was $186,000. CLA for 3 years was $148,825. And for 3 years from Gerber Rose was $94,450. Gerber Rose was lower with their fees. However, their project team was smaller, more up north, smaller municipalities than what we were, we felt. And then they didn't have like experience with the utilities. We didn't see in their proposal, and there were a couple other things that we weren't comfortable with.
CLA was really good about not charging for extra questions throughout the year and contacts and whatnot, as where Gerber Rose was very much, here are the 3 things we're gonna do, and anything else we might need to ask of them, there's no known on how much it's gonna cost, because they didn't give any hourly rates for their employees. So that left kind of a big unknown on how much that cost could potentially go up with Kerber roads.
So our recommendation is to offer the proposal to CLA, Clifton Larson and Allen. And they were the only ones that gave it for 5 years, their prices. And so 2028 was 54,000 and 2029 would be 56,000, which in 2029 still did not reach Baker Tilly's first year audit cost of 60,000.
Where are they located out of?
Milwaukee.
Okay.
That's where the office is. So I've had previous experience working with CLA. They were the third party administrator for the ARPA funds at Dodge County when I worked there. Really good auditing firm to work with and knowledgeable from what I've gained working with them over there.
So you think there's some cost savings? Any cost savings?
From CLA?
Yeah.
No, that's the cost. A cost savings overall?
Yeah.
Yes. It's approximately $40,000 over Baker Tilly.
Well, in the effort, in the interest of moving this along, it sounds like you people did your homework and you did a good job of evaluating it. And I believe in the team came up with a good answer, and I recommend we go along with their recommendation.
That's a motion.
That's a motion.
I'll second it.
First by Smith, second by Hinkle. Take a roll.
Alderperson Smith,
Aye.
Alderperson Henkel. Aye. Alderperson Newman.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. 4D, discuss with possible recommendation 2025 music contracts.
In the packet was the email and the contracts from Mike Schuett for Rockin' Boom. They're just the annual contracts they bring forward to the city for the different music events or providers, both for Rockin' Boom and for the summer concert series they host in Foster Park.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Second. First by me, second by Hinkle. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. 4E, discuss with possible action, Mayville Disaster Relief Fund.
So we started up this disaster relief fund. There's a lot of expenses that insurance won't cover. Trees, uprooted trees, some cemetery stuff, planting new trees.
Yes. So the disaster relief fund is comprised of the revenues or donations, if anybody from the area chose, if companies chose to donate towards this fund. That would be one of the revenue streams. The intergovernmental aid is through the Wisconsin Disaster Fund, in which it is a reimbursable grant that we can apply for. And so I had to submit preliminary costs, and you always go on the higher end when you start out with your preliminary costs. So then were submitted last Saturday to the county. Also, the other revenue source would be through your insurance recoveries. And so your insurance policy, the utility director and I, we went around the city, we took pictures, we made sure we had coordinates of all the areas where you had damage to your city property, and we submitted that, including 3 ambulances and 1 squad car that we submitted. That's a different insurance. MPEC is one, and then statewide is the other one that submitted the car insurance. Is like the tornado came through today, the quote, so I sent that off to insurance. Yep, you're okay, go ahead and fix that. So as these quotes come in, I got one from Jake, I think for a park sign and stuff, so I just gotta get approval, and then we're just good to go ahead and make that repair. So that would be the revenue, then insurance will pay us for that, except for the $2,500 deductible. Right, that's correct. That is included all in this disaster relief fund. So all of it has to be in one fund because it cannot hit your general fund. So that's why it's comprised of just more than donations that'll come in, and donations will go out through an application process or whatever you choose to do. There's also the grant money that'll come in, and it'll be paying for your actual expenses of debris cleanup is mostly that, because debris cleanup is regular wages, overtime wages, contracted services. your police, fire, and EMS services were only covered for overtime in and above what was needed that day. So your officer on duty, his wages are not covered. It's the officers that all called in for that night. So that's a part of the grant process. And then the third one is insurance. So your expenditures, the $2,500 deductible for your property.
So
The expense.
So with any federal money or state money that's we said, we're gonna have to create this
The only
fund.
one we qualify is the state fund, the Wisconsin Disaster Fund. That's the only one because the governor did not declare the state of emergency. So that would be $1.80 for every person in the state. That would have to be the cost for that catastrophe, for that disaster. Then he would declare a disaster for the state. However, I've learned that if there's a FEMA money or whatever, you have to give a coordinate for every tree that you remove them. The criteria is much more difficult, but this is difficult in itself.
Right.
So all of that will run through your fund so that if this ends up in a deficit, that it doesn't directly hit your general fund, and then that's gonna affect your levy limit.
Right.
So that's why the fund was created. And the mayor is correct. I mean, it's disaster relief fund.
And anyone can donate to that also.
Correct.
Is there an amount for that grant? Have they given $1?
Well, it would be 70/30 if we qualify.
70/30.
So,
It was $4.70.
$4.80. They had to be over 25,000 in expenditures. We're closer to 300,000.
We got 20,000 on the side, but it's actually gonna be more than that, it'd be more like 24,000 if we qualify that we have to provide.
So is this, are these grants available to just city functions? I mean, just public functions, or let's say a private property owner has a tree that was uprooted and they don't have insurance. Most property owners don't have insurance against uprooted trees unless they hit a building. So is this something that the private citizens can apply for?
That would be,
We could set that up, once we set up this, well, we already set up the disaster relief fund. Once it's approved, we could set up criteria through council on how we wanna, if we have extra funds to divvy up.
So, but right now, this is just reimbursement for the wear and tear on our
That's-
city equipment? and
Just
stuff?
establishing the fund that we actually applied for state grant,
and that's only for municipalities.
right? Because we have to have it separate away from our general fund. So it's just a whole separate account.
Anything else, Bob?
Nope.
Molly? I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
First by me, second by Hinkle. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Number 5, adjournment.
I'll second it.
Simultaneously, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned. Thank you. Anywhere in between, Jake, do you know by chance how many trees we did lose in the park?
Off the top of my
Okay.
head, no.
All right.
Okay, call to order the Personnel Committee meeting, May 27th, 2025 at 7:06. Roll call, please. Alderperson Henkel. Here. Alderperson Olson.
Here.
Alderperson Leeknow.
Here.
We have a quorum. Approval of the minutes from the April 28th, 2025 Personnel Committee meeting.
I make that motion to approve the minutes for April 28th.
Second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any citizens' comments for personnel? Seeing none, discuss with possible action hiring process for Department of Public Works Director position and Department of Public Works organizational structure.
So this is the structure that Kim was talking about, if you want to go with a director with an assistant director, or if you wanna go with director with additional labor. So on your organizational chart, that's one for your public works. And I believe
I myself would like to see a director with additional laborers. That's my opinion. Anybody else have their opinion? I think there should only be one honcho.
I agree with that, and I don't think we need two. You don't need like a director and a lead person. That will be the director's job.
That's my opinion.
Anybody else?
What happens if, the director's on vacation and someone's gotta fill in that?
That's where delegation comes in of the director to appoint somebody to take over in his absence, her absence, whatever.
What's the incentive to fill in?
It's your job.
I know what I tell my boss.
I'll bring you a souvenir back from my trip. I don't know. What are your thoughts, Rob?
To have a director and have another guy that's a lead tech that pay him a little bit more money to be the lead tech. And he fills in when the guy's not.
And what does he do otherwise?
He works. Like regular labor. But when the boss is gone, he's in charge of making sure everyone's doing what they're supposed to be doing, and he's still gonna be working foreman, if you wanna call it that.
How many employees are on right now on DPW?
6?
With the director. Okay. And I get what you're saying, we should.
It'd be nice if we had a director here to ask right now for their 2 cents.
We did ask last time.
What did that
It was
person think?
it was in the notes that I think Jack was for having the 2-tier system. Jake, correct me if I'm wrong,
I was the one that suggested
Okay.
the 2-tier.
because I asked both of you guys.
Yeah,
And Jack was more for just having an additional labor.
Yeah.
Okay.
but if I
Yeah.
could voice an opinion, just to voice it, if we have the 6, and then that one person's gonna be in charge of the parks and he's hourly, that person's gonna eat up your whole overtime budget. There's no way you can only work 40 hours a week in the parks when it's in summertime. You have to work at least 45 to 50 every week in the summer when it's busy. So, put it how you wanna put it, but that person might need to be a salary position.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
but I
you're,
don't know if he's gonna qualify for a salary position. He's gonna meet the exempted status. I don't know if he would qualify.
So he would be in charge of your parks, part-time hiring and firing, and so that, if that's the way you wanna set it up.
Does this allow, I speak out of turn here? No, I don't, I love it. Jack used to, every director of public works ran it differently, and it worked for them. Jack ran it with a special machine operator that was able to do sensitive work with a backhoe. They had special people who did other things. So he kind of ran it with 3 or 4 key people and 1 or 2 just laborers. I don't know, that was his style. So I don't know if you can, build what'll work without hiring the DPW director. You could probably have a place for a foreman or a second in charge, but that's the way Jack had it. This DPW position has been evolving since I've been here 22 years. It's been different every single time.
Probably is gonna keep evolving.
Yeah, so I don't think we should put anything in, I mean, until we see what we got, I don't know if you can put anything hard and fast, but you guys do what you want.
I kind of feel like I walked into the middle of this whole personnel thing, so I'm not sure which way to.
Well, we thought that they were gonna have, the director, was gonna be in charge of, DPW and parks, right? We're gonna consolidate them into one, because that's how we had it years ago. And then, hire another person. So the person that's the director would basically just be doing a lot of paperwork and making sure everything's getting done throughout the city. And making sure that he's applying for whatever needs to be applied for salt and everything else. So we're still gonna have to hire a full-time person in that position to fill the need for one person going down.
So if we can't have two salary positions, the 40 hours is gonna be eaten up and the overtime's gonna be.
Well, that's the law, right? We can't try to make, fudge the numbers a little bit to make it look like, we're gonna try to save money. He's gonna have to meet the exempt status, and if he doesn't meet the exempt status, that means he needs to hire, he has to have the ability to hire, and he has to have the ability to fire. And there's a couple of criteria he has to meet. I mean, that's why we have a director. I sure wouldn't feel comfortable having two guys, both guys can fire people.
You got that now, here.
We should just have one. I don't know. I just think there should be one head director.
Well, and that would be it, to have one head director, then you could have a lead person or a foreman, working foreman, or whatever you wanna call it.
I'd be okay with that myself, a foreman.
Yeah, I think I would too, just to have second in command.
Right, well, listen, if it doesn't work, or if it has to get evaluated down the road, then we have to evaluate it, just like we do everything else.
Okay, so then if there is like a foreman, that foreman would have to have a lot of knowledge under his belt. Are we gonna have a hard time filling that?
I would say whoever's the director, he makes a determination amongst his crew, who he wants to be lead tech or working foreman or whatever. And that's why we're giving them the position, right?
How about you, Jake? How does that sound to you?
At the end of the day, you guys make the call, and we work around it, so, I mean.
Yeah, but you're the one who's gotta live with it every day, not the rest of us.
Well, not necessarily. I mean, I gotta go through the application process yet too, so, but.
All right, so, I'll make the motion then.
To approve the director with the foreman?
Yeah, we had to move that to council, correct? Recommended council. We'll discuss it then. So that's my motion.
I'll second it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 4B, review section 5.06 grievance procedure of the draft City of Mayville employee handbook.
So this was recommended to look to see if we could grieve everything. And the attorney had agreed that just to leave it as is with the three
Me and Steph had a meeting with the attorney. He thinks we should just leave it as is. That's his recommendation. What do you think?
Yes. And that's just the grievance procedure? So we'd include that now in our, as we do each section for our new employee handbook,
Okay.
we'll just include this grievance section. And then we'll go on to the next section,
Gotcha.
which is so much fun.
And then we'll all come together.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. I will make a motion to approve.
I will second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, number 5, closed session pursuant to Wisconsin statute 19.85, 1C. Do I have a motion to go into closed session?
I'll make a motion to go into closed session at 7:13.
I'll second it. And I will take the roll. Alderperson Olson.
Aye.
Alderperson Henkel. Aye. Alderperson Leavenow.
Aye.
Motion carries. So I am going to take down.